safety. Now they call me Three Finger Joe.
Good morning. This is Rick Gleason and Don King coming to you from the University of Washington, Region 10, OSHA Training Center. And this is the heartbeat of worker health and safety. We have a special guest today who is at the CPWR, the Centers for Construction Research and Training. And Dr. Linda Goldenhar is the Director of Evaluation and Research for this group. And so we don't know much about this group, but we did find out that all the information is free, and we really liked that. So Linda, tell us a little bit about this Center for Construction Research and Training.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'd be happy to talk about CPWR. The acronym doesn't quite go with the name. We've had a recent name change, but so many people in our industry, which is the construction industry, know us as CPWR. We kept that. But the new name, the Center for Construction Research and Training, is a much better representation of what we do and what our mission is. So CPWR is a nonprofit organization that was established in 1990 by the North American Building Trades Unions. We currently encompass over 50 organizations, and our funding comes from cooperative agreements with the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, the National Institute for Environmental Health Sciences, for NIEHS, and NIEHS funds the training aspect, and NIOSH funds the research aspect. And then we also do service, and that is funded by the Department of Energy, also through a cooperative agreement, to do worker health screenings for beryllium and other exposures that they've had. So as I said earlier, we were established by the North American Building Trades Unions, but we are not funded by the trades unions. We were founded originally in 1990, but we are not funded by it. So our mission through training, service, and research is to reduce occupational injuries, illnesses, and fatalities in construction industry through research, training, and service. And our efforts in these three areas for the last 25 years has resulted in CPWR being recognized worldwide as a leader in construction safety and health.
Wow, this is amazing. Just to see what's been out there. I might have seen a few videos now and then, that maybe had that CPWR on it. But to know this valuable resource in construction safety and health is excellent.
Yeah, our www.cpwr.com is a wealth of information, both academic information. We have a library with academic research information. We have a solutions database that has specific solutions in it that you can search by exposure or trade, and you can find different solutions to help mitigate those exposures, reduce exposures. We have our research to practice emphasis. So NIOSH, and not in the last cooperative agreement, but the one before it, started having a much stronger emphasis on research to practice. And we've always done that. I mean, we have smart mark cards in English and Spanish. We have lots of materials, but the emphasis shifted from more of surveillance. So the trajectory for CPWR and its relationship with NIOSH research has gone from heavy surveillance emphasis, it's the typical public health model. What are the issues? And then to intervention. What are the types of things that you can use to reduce the exposures once you identify what the hazards are, falls, other things, silica. And the last two cooperative agreements, it's been more, okay, we know what the surveillance is, we know what the interventions are, how do we get it into the hands of the people who need it? So it's not that we don't publish anymore, because we certainly do that, and we have, what we do is research and evidence, if not research and evidence based, it's research and evidence informed. And we've had a strong emphasis on creating tools and materials for practitioners, contractors, insurance companies, all sorts of things. And it's all available for free because we are government funded completely. And so it's all there for the taking and using.
Boy, that's great. And like Don, you're in tunneling construction safety. Is there anything that comes to your mind that you could use?
I really zeroed in on the fact that they're talking about a safety climate. Unfortunately, in our business, they get a buzzword going and then everybody uses it and they keep on using it, but they have no reason or background why they're using it. And you talked about you're staying away from behavioral versus risk assessment, which was talked about 50 years ago by Mr. Peterson, but he wrote his book, Dan Peterson, at the same time OSHA came out with the rules. But would you speak a little bit about why you've diversed yourself away from the word behavior?
Yeah, well, as a behavioral scientist, I have learned over the years, the past 25 years since I've been doing work in the area of occupational safety and health, and now more specifically in construction safety and health. We all have behaviors that we do, some good, some bad, but unfortunately, the emphasis on behavior often in people's minds focuses on worker behavior. And workers, they don't want to get killed. They don't want to die. And so in addition to thinking about practices and wearing PPE and things like that in terms of the hierarchy of controls, which is that piece of the hierarchy is behavior-based, how do you get people, and motivation-based, we need to think much more systemically about the culture that's created, the climate on the job site that's created that may have led that person to to take a risk that he or she wouldn't have done normally. So we need to think about it much more broad-based than has oftentimes been kind of the go-to. It's like it was the worker's fault. And that's where behavior-based safety, kind of they think about just the worker and changing the worker's behavior, and it's not comprehensive enough. And it doesn't take into account management's behavior, owner's behavior, CEO's behavior, leader, everybody's practices and how that all works together to create a strong safety culture and safety climate. Does that help?
That's very good.
And we've been very fortunate to have you earlier today do a little workshop for our continuing education department here. But it kind of involved supervisor safety leadership training. Can you tell us a little about what you've been doing in that issue and what might be available for folks that are listening to our podcast?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So in the last cooperative agreement, to NIOSH, we proposed a project to create a leadership training or educational module for the targeted foremen and lead people primarily who have supervisory responsibilities. And we decided to do that for two reasons. One, it was identified as a strong leading indicator of safety, climate, and safety outcomes, so improved supervisory leadership. But we also learned from surveys that McGraw-Hill and Dodge Data Analytics did with contractors, and they said that they would send their newly minted foreman or promoted foreman to the OSHA 30 hour to get leadership skills. And we all know, probably most people are listening to this and whatever, that they don't teach leadership in the OSHA 30 hours. So we proposed to create a leadership training or educational module. We've been working on that for the last 2 years, and we put together a 2.5 to 3 hour module to be incorporated into the OSHA 30 hour. That was our goal, and as of April, the OSHA Training Institute has approved it to become an elective starting January 1. So we are trying to get the word out of its existence, so once it becomes available, OSHA 30 hour trainers and master trainers and people who are responsible for training these newly minted foremen or even, experienced foremen and lead workers, that they will select this module, which we call the Foundations for Safety Leadership, and so that they'll get at least some exposure to some leadership skills and principles and understand why safety leadership is so important for improving safety, climate, and safety outcomes.
Boy, this is great. And so when you say January, that would be January 2017. And you're right. We hear a lot about the 30-hour construction safety and health, and folks get cards, from OSHA for that. But it's really about hazard identification. But there is very little in there on safety management or supervisor safety or safety leadership. So what a great way to balance out the other 27 hours of hazard identification and introduction to OSHA with skills that they might need, and they certainly will need out there in the field to work with their folks underneath them.
Yeah, and we have heard, because in addition to going through the OSHA 30 hour and making it available that way, we have also made it available to any company who needs it or wants it. And there's been a lot of requests for it, which is really exciting to us because it says that there is a need, and safety and health professionals and contractors have seen there's a need. Big contractors and small have taken the FSL and either incorporated it lock, stock, and barrel into their training, or picked out pieces of it they can incorporate into their own ongoing training. And so it's, as you were saying, I think it's been, and you were saying it also, it's been a need that's been seen for a while. And other people obviously have created leadership training programs, and we looked at those when we were first starting this. But our target audience was a very specific target audience, and we had a curriculum development team work with us and a lot of subject matter experts to make sure we were being realistic and feasible with the material that we include in this, which is both didactic as well as applied. And we have 7 scenarios, video-based or role-play based, that the instructor can use to get the students to think about and apply the principles that they learn in the didactics.
And for our audience out there, the word didactic means?
Basically, the information on the costs of ineffective leadership, the benefits of effective leadership, what a safety leader is. So more of the information behind the applied aspects. And then we also go into, in the didactics, the 5 leadership skills that are covered in the FSL, which are lead by example, engage and empower your team or crew members, actively listen and practice three-way communication, develop your team members through teaching, coaching, and feedback. And the fifth one is to recognize your team members, both publicly and privately, for going above and beyond for safety. So you give them all that information in the first hour, and then the last 2.5 or hour and a half to 2 hours, you work through scenarios to let the students think about in more depth and how people are applying it or not applying it, and think about how they would do it differently from their own experiences.
Having just gone through it this morning, Don and I, it's a great program. And
Thank
the
you.
price is right.
All for free.
And Dr. Goldenhar, thank you for being with us today. Could you give us that website one more time so folks could log on to that?
Sure. So CPWR is www.cpwr.com.
You know, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, right. That's why we didn't change our name.
Thank you so much for being here. Don, any last comments, thoughts for us?
Well, I would say after listening to Linda and getting all of this good information, I think the thing I would say is the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And it sounds to me like that's what this company's about, and that's from Gandhi. So
That's pretty
Wow.
powerful.
I love that. And
Yeah.
hey, this has been Rick Gleason and Don King coming to you from the University of Washington, the heartbeat of worker health and safety. If you need anything, you can go to our website, which is osha.washington, and that Washington is spelled out, .edu. So thank you very much for being here.
and to all of you out there, stay safe and do it right for your families or your loved ones, and a great big aloha.
I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Though I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Finger Joe. I've seen mechanics burning, and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment, spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger and some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Finger Joe.